So these are modern Hexies. These are done all by machine. So, and it's a lot faster, fax messier, but that's okay, because usually these things get appliqued on other stuff. So what we're going to do tonight is I'm going to show you how to make your own Hexies on with IQ Designer, and do it on your machine. If you're joining us later, or either on YouTube or on Facebook, and you do not have a machine that has the capability to do on-screen designer or the My Design Center, which is the brother version of it, which is digitizing right on the sewing machine or on the embroidery machine, let me know and I'll be happy to send you they'll fit in a 5x7 frame, either this one or this one, which is, well, that's not this is the one that was done last week, but the big one that we did last week, and that fits in a 4x4 frame, and it's a lot bigger. So here's the finished one. This is one. These are little. This one is, I believe, it measures to be a 1-inch Hexie, or 3/4. No, it's a 3/4 inch Hexie, so it's a little on the small side. But this is the most popular size. This is the one you can buy the papers or the templates to do this by hand, but I'm going to show you how to create this in your machine. So, and you can get lots of them done. I got a lot of them done. I just didn't start sewing any of them till this afternoon. And I've got a whole stack of fabrics that I want to make. I'm not sure what I want to make with them right now, but they're fun. So anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to start at the embroidery machine. So let me switch that camera. Oh, what I want to do is just dissolve away stabilizer in my hoop. And that's all you have. And yes, I piece it together. I don't know if you can see this right here. I do piece it together. I use wash away thread and zigzag them together, because to be honest with you, this is about one of the most expensive of all the stabilizers. Okay, so let me go into IQ Designer. Either IQ Designer, if you have a brother, it's called My Design Center. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is go to my settings page, which is up here, and it looks like that piece of paper. I want to turn on the 5x7 frame, and it's just going to show me the display. So I'm going to scroll back and forth until I see 5x7. It's 4x. There we go. 5x7, and I want to use a 1-inch grid. Okay, and that's okay. Oh yeah, I want to make sure I'm going to start out in inches. So that goes to the next page, and I am in inches. Okay. I do weird things. I switch back and forth between inches and metric, and when it comes to stitch length, I think in metric. When it comes to everything else, I think in inches. Okay, so first of all, what I want to do is, it's showing the 5x7 frame, and that's the outline. This is so simple to do. So if you want to do a preparation step, in other words, so it'll show you a placement stitch, so it'll show you where your fabric is. You don't have to. You can hoop what you'll need is you need to dissolve away mesh stabilizer, but if you want to save fabric, you can. I just put 5x7 in here, and you can do a placement stitch if you like. It's not necessary unless you're not sure of your machine, and you're going to need a piece of background fabric. Gosh, it's something I shouldn't have. Background fabric, and then a piece of just the front fabric that you want to make the Hexies out of. This is bigger than 5x7. It is not necessary to put a stitch, but if you're doing a bunch of them, you probably might want to put a placement stitch in. If you do, what you're going to do is you are going to take your shapes tool, which is right here. It looks like a circle and a square. I click that. I'm just going to pick a square. Okay. And I'm going to hit size. And I'm going to, here's the size of it. It says 6.19 inches. I want to make it 5x7. So I want to make it 7 inches high. And I'm going to hit this so that you have these two at the top. Make this square bigger on both the horizontal and the horizontal and the vertical at the same time. I just want to do the vertical, so I want to make it go up till it says 7 inches. Too far. On the new Solaris Visionary, well, the Solaris 3, in other words, you can also just type in. I don't have that one, so that's okay. And then I want to also make this skinnier to 5 inches. Again, you could key them in if you've got the version 3, or the Solaris or the Luminaire with the version 3 upgrade. Come on, there we go. Okay, so it's 5 by 7. Okay, and I'm going to hit OK. And I'm going to change the property of a running stitch. So if I were making a running stitch or a tack down stitch, you would again pick I want to pick the properties. Line properties are here. Region fill properties are here. So I want to pick the properties. I want to make it a double run, and I think I'll make it red. Okay, and this is the flood here. So I'm going to touch the flood icon at the top and just touch that circle. And now you've seen it turn red, and therefore it's now affected. So that's all I'm going to do with this. I'm going to hit next. Now here's where I can change the stitch length because it's awfully tight. So I'm going to switch to inches. So I go to my settings page up here and go on, this one is page 8, and I'm putting that on metric. Because 2 millimeters is an awful tiny stitch for a basting, you know. It's a little high, so or too tight of a stitch. So I'm going to make this at least not 6. 4 is good. 4 millimeters, and then set. And then on this machine, preview shows you what it's going to look like. And we have IQ, other tapes that we have on IQ will give you more information about that. I'm going to hit set, and now I'm in the embroidery mode. So some machines I would have to save this. This one I could just simply hit add, which is down here. But an IQ designer, which means I'm going to add to that IQ. Now we're going to do something else. Okay, so I want to go back to inches. Page 8 is inches. Okay, I want to get a shape now. So I'm going to again go here to the shape. This one on the top row, the last column is a hexagon. I select that. And it's huge, okay? Now, the reason I have the 1-inch grid is that is that you can pretty much tell how big it is. But with a hexagon, when they say a 1-inch hexagon, they're talking about this flat side, how long these edges are, not the distance of the whole design. So if I were making a 2-inch, okay, let's see, I would go to immediately hit size, and now I would move it down. Now this, when you're changing the size of the hexagon, you've got to change it proportionally, because otherwise then it won't be a hexagon, or it won't be right, won't fit together. So I want to change this until I see, if I were doing a 2-inch, which is what we had done before. Come on. I'll do that one first, and then and I'm just making it smaller. And what I'm looking for is that these 2 points are on this 2-inch grid, because I can visually see it. Will it be exactly 2 inches? Probably not. It'll probably be just a little off. Maybe a little more. And if you're not sure, you can magnify that. And yes, a little bit more. Move it up a little bit. Okay, so now as you see it blown up, this is 2 inches on this side. So we could relatively say that is the 2-inch side. So that's good. Now I'm making 3/4 inch. So, and then what we would do is we would save this, put the stitches to it, and then there is your 4-inch. I mean, your 2-inch wide hexagon that we needed to make the oven mitt or the potato mitt. But I am going to change this more. Reason is because I'm making a smaller one. So I'm going to change this down until this is, let's see, 1.5 inches. And I'm talking about the top. Approximately. Now, is this exactly 3/4 of an inch hexagon? No, probably not. I think it's a tiny bit smaller. Okay, a little more. There we go. That's 5 inches here, or 1.5 inches. That's from here to here. It's 1.5 inches from right to left. So that's good. Okay. And oops, I don't want to, yeah. And so I have it selected. I'm going to go back to 100%. Okay, now I need the duplicate. So I'm going to hit size first of all and make sure it's in the dead center. And it is. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and change the stitches now, because otherwise I'd have to change all of the stitches at the same. Well, I can just leave it. We can fix that later. Okay. But I'm going to leave it black. Okay, but if I wanted to change the stitches, I would go to my line property here, make this a double run. Now, these do not make a single run. It'll only make a double run, and I'm going to leave it black. Okay, and I'm going to flood it and touch it. If you get this noise, that means you've already done it. There's nothing to change. Okay. Oops, wait a minute. I wanted it to stay. There we go. I just wanted my line back. Okay. So now all I have this red box around it. That means it's selected. So what I'm going to do is right here at the very bottom, or it's a little different on the Solaris and the Luminaire, I want the duplicate key. And for this machine, it's like 2 daisies together. So now you have 2 of them, but one is offset. Let me see if you can see that better. I don't know if you can you see that? Okay, I can't tell if you can see it or not. Whoops. Go even closer. Okay. So immediately I want to hit size. Put it in the middle. And then I'm going to use the arrow keys. I'm not going to use my stylus to move it. I'm going to use the arrow keys, and I want to put that just inside my 5x7 box. That 5x7 won't stitch. Okay. And I'm going to duplicate it again. And notice they're about 1/4 of an inch apart, and that's okay. It doesn't have to go a little bit more. Okay. And then I want to hit OK. I'm going to hit the select key, which is this box with like a dotted line around it. And I'm going to select, put the red box around the 2. Oh, no, I take that back. Undo. Don't want that. I'm going to hit duplicate again because I want a 3rd one, come to think of it. Hit size. Put it back in the middle. And you hit a duplicate, it's whatever you're duplicating it goes offset from that particular item, not necessarily the one in the middle. And now I'm going to use that size key to move that to the other side. So now I have 3 in a row. Okay. Now I'm going to hit the select key because I want to move all 3 of these because I want to fit as many on this page on this hoop as I can. Hit that and select. And then duplicate. It duplicated all 3. And I'm going to again go to size, put it in the middle, and then I'm going to move them straight up to the top of the hoop. Too far. Okay, and then again, okay. And this time I wanted to paste another one. I want another 3. So instead of copying another, I'm just going to hit paste, and it's going to remember what I did before. And again, hit size, put it in the middle, and move it down to the bottom of the hoop. I can fit some more in here. So hit OK. And this time I'm going to select, and I'm going to draw a box around just 2 of them. and I'm going to duplicate. Now I have two, so I'll hit size, and now I'm going to move these using the arrow keys. Usually what I do is I come to one, and so I have these two overlapping in this area just a little bit. Now I'm going to move it in between. Okay, that gives me a little bit of room. Okay, then I'm going to paste again, size, move it down. And move it over. Okay, that's good. I like that. Okay. Now I'm ready to put that to stitches. So I hit next. Okay, I'm going to go back to my settings page because I need my stitch length. And so I'm going to put that in back in metric. Okay. I don't want, if I make changes to one, I don't want to make change. I want to make changes to all of them. And this one is telling me it's doing a zigzag stitch. I'm going to link these together. Sorry. Change the stitch to a run and green. I only had one selected. Okay. Now they are all, notice they're all highlighted here. And I'm going to change all of these to a 2.2 millimeter. It's a little bit too small. 2.3 is good. Hit set. And preview me shows you what it's going to look like. And now we're in embroidery. We're good to go. And we're ready to stitch. Okay. Now, when you're you want to do a test stitch, because sometimes our bobbin thread is way too tight and you get a straight line on the bottom with loops from the top needle. So you want to change your tension on either your needle or your bobbin so that you have a fairly balanced stitch. This is where you might want to change to your sewing bobbin. And that way you'd be able to you'd be able to get a better stitch. Okay, and I've loaded here. I'm going to, let me change this perspective a little bit. Oh, let me turn that light out. That is just too bright. There. I forget I can't see it, but the machine, the camera picks it up too bright. Okay, then I'm putting my fabrics right side together. Okay. And I'm ready to stitch it. Go to embroidery. The first color, it's going to do a tack down. I mean a placement. And this is just for my interest. I didn't, if you want to tack it down, you can. I'm not going to let it finish because it always does a double run. I don't need a double run. I need a single. So I'm going to go plus or minus and move it forward one. So now it's doing the hexagons. So I'm going to cover with the background fabric. And I'm going to put right sides together. Well, this is backing. It's just a piece of muslin. Doesn't, you could even use the if you're using no-show mesh instead of dissolve away mesh, you could use that. Okay, and now I'm going to just let it stitch there, and it's going to stitch these together. It will double stitch it. But that's okay. You just get a little bit of extra security stitch when it goes and when you're putting the hexies together. Yes. Okay. All righty. So what we end up with is a whole sheet full of these things. So you're going to cut these out about 1/8 of an inch. And one of them. Oh, here we go. This is the one I want. This is what the back will look like. Okay, so you want to take ace, and it's still got the dissolve away mesh. And you can pull it away, but I don't. I usually just simply fish in a seam ripper so I get a cut. Then I'll take scissors and I'm going to cut away as much of the stabilizer as you can. Now, is this my method? I did not come up with this. I'd love to say I did, but I didn't. This was a method that was actually started by Lori Hernandez. You probably met her because she's a Babylock educator and she's been at the expo. She's the one with the long, pretty black hair. Just as sweet as could be. So anyway, this is what it looks like. You can now turn it from here. However, I didn't like it with this mesh in here. It made too thick of a seam if I tried to use it now. So after this one is a little easier to see, okay, because I did it on the red. I put the red down first. So you just get a bunch of these, cut them 1/8 of an inch apart away from the seam allowance. You don't need much more than that. Then stick them in some water and let them dry. Or let that dissolve, no-show mesh dissolve away. Then put them on a flat paper towel and let them dry. Then you want to give them a good crisp press. Well, I'm going to press it again. So now what you want to do is you're going to reach in with your seam ripper right here and just make a little cut. And you can look on the back to see that your seam ripper is not poking through the other side. I'm just making a little cut in the backing fabric, okay, which is muslin. Okay, I'm going to cut until I'm about 1/4 of an inch away. I'll show you what that looks like in a second. Okay, then you're going to turn it and you reach in and push. Turn this. I'll reach in here, push that side through. And this can get kind of hard because this is so small. But see these? This is a coffee stir, and I don't remember if it's from McDonald's, Panera, or Starbucks. Those are the 3 places we usually get coffee. So it's from one of those places. And that gets most of it turned. I'll put the light on because I cannot see. That's a little too much light for you guys, but I would pick the black one, right? Okay, and then just start using this to push most of it out. Okay, it no way looks like a hexagon. It's a mess, okay? So, but what I like to use is you can use a point turner. This is not scissors, this is a thin hemostat. Back from when my husband was a medical lab manager, and he was actually a biochemist, so he ran medical labs for a lot of years. And then I'm poking out all these corners and it's blunt. And what I like about this is that if you've got some place you really need to get tight corners, this is even thinner, but it's blunt at the end. That's why it doesn't poke through. I've had disasters with scissors where it's literally poked through. This, you could probably use a point turner on, well, I just poked that one through, a point turner. However, the problem with a point turner is that it's awfully big for this little spot. There. Okay, and then then it helps to give it a good pressing. Where's my little mat? This also helps to put spray starch on it. But I also found that if you don't let this soak for too long, the starch that's in the no-show mesh will be very good for just adding starch to it and give you a nice crisp edge, and that's all you need to do. And now you can make a whole bunch of these. Make a whole bunch of these, and you can put these together by hand if you like, and like this, and hand stitch them like we did last week. Are we going to do that? No, we're going to do this by machine. Now to show you what we've done with the big one. Okay, where's my big one? Here it is. Okay, I treat this one a little bit different because it is so big. Again, I have now, see how my muslin shrunk, but the batik did not. So when you're doing something this big, now you're going to add, you can leave a 1/4 inch seam and cut all of your corners really close. Remember, this is double stitched, so it's easy enough to turn. I mean, it's double stitch, it won't come out. Okay, again, this is enough that I can give this a snip. Again, I'm going to cut it the same way. I want to cut next to a point. I don't want to cut it this way because your opening is smaller. Okay, let me come over here. You don't have to be too neat. This is all, again, a generous 1/4 inch. Make this one a little wider. And turn it. This one's easier to turn because it is bigger. Now remember, the outside is bigger, which actually turns out to my advantage because of the fact now it's going to pull to the back. And you won't see any of this muslin on the top. So you could also leave no-show mesh in there and not take out any dissolve away, just cut it. But I think that makes for a very bulky seam, especially these points. And I'm using my hemostat to push them out. Okay. Give it, usually I will give it a press from the back when it's this big so that I can just see a tiny hair of the front color. All the corners, every single side. All right. And then give it a good press. Okay. Now remember, here's what we had before. Right? We have 6 of these. 2 of them are going to be the pockets. So I said, here's my pocket. It's got a slit down the middle. That's okay. Just fold on it. Give it a good press. Okay. You're going to take these to the machine, to your sewing machine, just like that. You're going to set up a zigzag, and I will do that in a minute. As soon as I set up the machine, I have to do a little switcheroo here. But you're going to zigzag these 2 pieces together. Usually I use a 3.0 wide zigzag, and you want to pick the zigzag that has a reverse stitch, not the one that has the locking stitch. And I'll show you why in a minute. Okay, and after you have those 2 together, you have this. Here's what it looks like. Does it look okay? I mean, is it as pretty as the, oh, there we go. Is it as pretty as doing it by hand? No, but it's a heck of a lot faster. Okay, and I'm just going to pretend I have these sewn, but I don't, but I will do that in a minute. Then you cut out your batting just like the last time. You would pin these together. I will just pin this here. In all reality, I will just zigzag my middles together, and the rest of it, I think on this I'd still hand stitch, mostly because you're having to match up all these edges, and I don't feel confident doing that. And then match, get a pin, turn it like that, and then. And you could either zigzag, but most likely if I were to do this by machine, I would do this all by by a hand. I mean, I would do it with a straight stitch, not a zigzag. And just run a straight stitch there. And same thing on this would be sewn to it together. And same thing with the pocket on this side. And then you would get the same product, which was this one. This is the one we did by hand. This one feels sturdier. I think just having that extra piece of muslin inside of here gives it a little more stability, and it just feels better. You know, I think it'll feel better in your hand, a little more sturdy. So that it would be how you accomplish this without all them pesky hand stitches. So, although this is not portable, you would have to sit at a machine to finish it. This you could take it with you in the car. Here's the finished product. Pop it out of the and then just simply cut them. Cut them out. And I'll just cut one out. Cut 1/8 of an inch away. I'll finish the rest later. So I'm gonna have to make something out of these. These are fun. People didn't like this. Is actually what is now the Sophia. It's the predecessor to the Sophia. And so, but it works. It sews as well. I love this machine. And you know why I bought it? This is so funny. I like this case. I thought this was the cutest thing, and it fits right inside there. Only I notice all my elastics icky, but I'm gonna go ahead this afternoon and I got some of this elastic last week, so I'm gonna replace it. So what you wanna put on your machine is you can use, I have the end foot on here, but you can use, and I have another end foot that I've made an open toe. This is the plastic. Oh, now they do sell an open toe metal foot now. You can buy one with it already open like that. I got this one long before they had a metal open toe, because this is all we had was the plastic one. And to be honest with you, I don't like the plastic one. I don't know why, I just don't like it. And so we had an extra one of these around the shop. So I popped the plastic out of the old end foot and then filed the rest down. Or you could use the J foot, or you could also use an edge joining foot. Any of those will work. Okay, so here's some of the Hexies I made. I haven't turned them yet, but I got a whole stack of them. The needle, you need to use a sharp needle, and I'm using a Microtex size 14 needle. Okay, you have a lot of bulk at these little corners here, and they tend to be eaten by the feed dogs. So you're going to, I set my stitch up to a 3.30 stitch width and a 1.4 stitch length, and it's the zigzag that has a reverse. Remember, we have zigzags at the top. It'll either have a pair of, looks like quotation marks. That means that when you hit the reverse button, it's going to go into reverse. If it has just a little dot, it does a locking stitch, which is 3 stitches in one place, and we don't want that one. We want the regular one. So I'm going to see if I can't put this in here without getting in the way. Okay, so I'm going to put the 2 edges. You don't put them exactly at the end. Okay, I'm going to line up with the middle, and I need the foot pedal. Here we go. I'm going to take ones, and see, this is why you want to have a good sharp needle. Okay, there we go. I take 1 stitch on either side, then reverse, and then go forward. So you get to the other side. All righty, and then you back tack and then break your thread. Okay, then clip away your long thread. And yeah, I was not very good at that because I'm sitting off to the side. Oh goodness, I was way off there. Okay, I will fix them later. Then you put another one on. Let's see if I can't get better than this one. Oh. I need these. It's part of the problem. I can't see. Okay. Again, line up. About 2 stitches away, back tack a few. Okay, and then you want to keep it in the center so that the zig is going to hit the right and the left side alternatively. And cut. And you keep doing that. See, until you get all the way around. So see how I've got a few like this? So I do all the legs so that these are all loose. Then I'm going to come in, and it may seem like these don't fit. So you force them together, because guess what? We're going to steam them into submission later on anyway. Like I said, edge joining foot can be helpful here. Okay, so you get it, you're going to pinch it together like that for the first 2 stitches. Gets one side, then the other, and now you've caught it. So then you're going to reverse. And then go forward until you hit the center one, and then go backwards. Do it with the purple one so you can see where the red one. Let's go. Okay. Same thing here. I'll just finish these. I'll do one more, maybe you can see this one better. Okay, so it's going one side. Let me see. Okay. Yeah, my hands aren't in the way this time. Okay. Let's see, did I back up? Okay. I don't remember if I backed up, so it's not gonna hurt it to do it again. So, okay, then you get to each side. When you hit the middle, back up again. Now what that's going to do, and yes, it's not the right color, but that's all right, is that sometimes you have little gaps right in here. And then when you close it up, your zigzag is going to cover the gap, and then it will be nice and flat. Then what you'll do is you'll start putting them together, just like a puzzle piece. So when you're doing now, I've seen a lot of tips where people will take tape and tape these together and start to stitch on the tape. I'm not going to do that, but you can. Or tape it from underneath if you're worried about it ever showing. Okay, again, giving it 1 stitch on each side and reverse. Now see, there's a nice gap. You can see the gap right here. There's a gap there. And putting in the zigzag stitches will fill in the gap. Just worry about one side at a time. When you come into the middle, if you're going to pivot this way, your zigzag has to end on the right. If you're pivoting the other way, your zigzag would finish on the left. So I'm going to the right, and I just simply pivot and keep going. I don't have to back tack unless it's the beginning. And again, over here, 1 out. So I finished on this side, pivoted on this side, and zigzag here. Okay, now that I'm at the end of a, and I don't have anything else, then I break thread, and it's put together. Is it absolutely perfect? No. If you want, to me, if you want Hexie perfection, you got to do it by hand. I'm sorry. But this is very, very strong. It's a lot stronger than by hand. And, you know, once you quilt over top of it, who's going to notice that it's not perfect? And with practice, it will get perfect. So these are a lot of fun to do, and they're really fast. And you can get a table runner or a placemat or something done pretty quickly. You can also use invisible thread, so you don't have to worry about it. If it's not perfect, you won't tell, especially when you're going around changing color going from color to color. But over here where I did this in purple, you really can't see it unless you are looking really, really close. You cannot see the stitching. But invisible thread would work really well. Although that wouldn't show on camera at all, other than a shiny wisp going by every once in a while. And so like, where did the other one go? Let's see what happens when we try to sew these together. Okay, again, same way, no matter how big it is, you match them up as best. And if one's a little longer, what you do is you even them up over here, and as you're zigzagging, you pull on the other one and make them match. Backpack. And see, one is a little longer, so I'm going to stretch this one. Which is what I'm doing by hand. When I do these by hand, I'm stretching and pulling too. Okay, did I totally miss that? Oh my God, I surely did. You know what? You just go back the other way. There we go. It's 30 doubles here. Okay. And it's stitched. I would put it together. I'll start to stitch it. Match up my points. And now I would switch to a straight stitch. And I want it center. Okay. Now I'm just going to start here. And this is all I would do, is I would start without a pocket and just do a straight stitch, sealing in the edges. Okay. Over here, pivot. This would be better with the J foot. It's wanting to tunnel in there. Get that underneath. Yeah, the end foot doesn't like this. Right here, I'm going to reverse because that's going to hold in the pocket. And you definitely want a size 14 needle with this. And don't go too fast. What I've discovered this week, that your pin cushion, this magnetic pin cushion that we all love, if you put your little tiny screwdrivers on there, or any screwdriver or scissor, it makes them magnetic. And scissors, whether you like it or not. So most of my scissors are magnetic this week. And over here, I'm going to just give that some more of a back tack. And then give it down here. And just okay. This is actually done. Now, granted, yes, was I nice and neat? No. But you know what? I like this one because remember I complained the other one was too big. With that stitching, just that little bit of stitching, it's better for me. So I'll probably take it apart and do it better. And take more time to line it up. But that is all they're done. So let me switch cameras again. And we'll wrap it up. That's about it for now. You guys have a happy Thanksgiving.